here we go. It's that time again. Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast 97 if you're in Manchester, but you can stream us anywhere at WMNHradio.org. And of course on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. Plus you can go to my website, mattconnerton.com, for all of your live streaming options and social media links and contact info and show archives, etc. And hello to our friends at Raw Talk Online. Today is Tuesday, July 27, 2021. Welcome, my friends, and we have a lot planned for today. We'll see what we can get to in the first hour, and then, of course, coming up in the second hour of the show, because it is Tuesday, we will be joined in studio by Mike Sudderth for his weekly Tweakonomics segment. So we always look forward to that, but before we get rolling, I do want to remind you, of course, that we are proudly sponsored by the Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan at 1000 Elm Street, right across the street. Don't go there today because Monday and Tuesday is their weekend, but they are open Wednesday through Sunday. They have very delicious gourmet pretzels. They have craft beer. They have wine. They have live entertainment. Speaking of Mike Sudderth, Tuesdays, he joins us in the second hour for his Tweakonomics segment. Fridays, he steps into a telephone booth and he comes out as Grant Lampton. And I almost said Superman. No, he comes out as Grant Lampton and goes and performs at the Hop Knot with his guitar. I think what it is he walks in as Clark Kent with no guitar because I think he stores his guitar in the telephone booth. So then he just walks out with his guitar, and then he's Grant Lampton or Superman. I've really just kind of run that analogy into the ground in just a few seconds. I apologize, or metaphor or whatever. Anyway, but he'll be there performing live, as always, Friday night from 7 to 9 p.m. He's doing a residency there. But please continue to support our wonderful sponsor, the Hop Knot. Great food, great service, and such an amazing family that owns and operates it. And we're very blessed to have them as a sponsor of this program and of this station. So welcome, everybody. Let me give the numbers, 603-250-6007. If you would like to give us a call, 603-250-6007. You can also text me at 617-917-4476. Tweet me at Matt Connarton or send an email to matt@mattconnerton.com. And, of course, you can interact and opine in the Facebook live chat. We'll say hello to everyone in there in just a moment. But the best thing to do is give us a call at 603-250-6007 so that we may hear and enjoy your dulcet tones. Let's see. Something just brief. I know when it comes to Crazy Joe, some people love the Crazy Joe stuff, can't get enough of it. Some people hate it, just want to leave him in the past. And every time I think that we have turned the final page on that chapter, there's a new there's a little bit of new information. I just have to share this quickly, and then we will move right along. So those of you who are tired of hearing about Crazy Joe, I promise you this will be brief. So Crazy Joe has been, and I think we mentioned it on the show yesterday, he has been banned from Facebook yet again from live streaming on Facebook. I think this time he only made it a day or two before he got another 30-day suspension. So it has come to our attention. I think Jenny's the one who found the actual account first. Crazy Joe is on TikTok. And probably not the ideal format for Crazy Joe because he likes to do very long, meandering, rambling videos about what a terrible person I am and how much he hates the people of New Hampshire and thinks that we're all these lefty liberals and blah, blah, blah. You know, if you've sampled his content, you know the deal. So TikTok, of course, I guess the maximum, I've got to get on TikTok. I'm not even on TikTok, but I think it would be good for the show. The maximum video length is 3 minutes. So he has to confine himself to that 3 minutes. So he's got a whole bunch of videos on TikTok. And it's actually exactly what he does on his Facebook page, the Crazy Joe Show Facebook page. but condensed into bite-sized morsels of wit and wisdom. However, so we learned something, and Dirk Don from Arrogant Media, who I do see in the Facebook live chat, even commented on this earlier. We learned something from watching Crazy Joe's TikTok videos. He apparently, because he brings this up, he apparently has completely misunderstood the reason that he keeps getting suspended from Facebook. See, if you watch any of his video content, you know there's a lot of racism and homophobia and anti-Semitism, and I think even some transphobia, maybe. I'm not sure. I mean, just whatever you want to put in that big bigot bucket. You'll find it in Crazy Joe's videos. So obviously that's why he keeps getting suspended, right? That's why people report him. That's why he gets suspended. Well, he apparently has a different idea, because on Sunday, I happened to be en route. I was in my car, but I saw a Facebook notification come up that said, Crazy Joe is live, and there was something about, it showed me on the notification that I just glanced at because I was in the car, the notification, something about, calling somebody a real loser. And obviously he means me, because I am the object of his ire. I'm the one he says all these terrible things about, and other people as well. But most of his upset is with me. So once I was at a place where I could park, I went to look for the notification, and the notification had disappeared. And I went to his page, and there was no new video. And I was like, oh, that's strange. Well, come to find out, it turned out that that video was interrupted and deleted because Facebook suspended him again. But then come to find out through watching his TikTok videos, in one of his videos, he's going, can you believe, I don't do a Crazy Joe impression. He's going, can you believe that just calling somebody a loser actually got me suspended from Facebook? Facebook suspended me for using the word loser. So Jenny and I are watching this, and we realize, and like I said, Dirk commented on it today, we realize he doesn't even realize why they keep suspending him. It's not because he calls me a loser. You can call people loser on Facebook. It's because of what he says in his videos. But he doesn't know that. He thinks it's because he, in the text or whatever that he attaches to the video, if he puts an insult in there, that's what gets him suspended. So we thought that was funny. We had a good hearty chuckle about that. Having said all that, prepare one more thing on the Crazy Joe front, and then I promise we'll move on. But something occurred to me today that I had completely forgotten about. Prepare to have your minds blown. I'm going to now say something, and I mean this genuinely. I'm not setting up a bit. I'm not saying this to be funny. I genuinely mean this. I'm about to say something nice and complimentary about Crazy Joe. Something about Crazy Joe that I had completely forgotten. Even though I believe him to be a fundamentally horrible person, as evidenced by his videos where he reveals himself to be a horrible person with all this bigotry and whatnot. You know one thing Crazy Joe is not? I had completely forgotten about this until today. It just sort of occurred to me. And I know this because it came up in one of his videos. This came up in one of his videos from a couple of months ago when he was being kind of nice. He was in a good place. He was posting videos that were positive. He mentioned something that I thought was very good. Crazy Joe is not an anti-vaxxer. I know this because it came up in one of his videos. He mentioned that he had recently been vaccinated and that he was encouraging other people to get vaccinated because he takes COVID-19 very seriously. And he thinks that we all should. And he was encouraging people to get vaccinated. And he said he felt it's very important. And I thought of that today. It just popped into my head and I was like, oh yeah, there is something good about the guy. So there you go. Apparently Crazy Joe, which is weird in a way, because if you pay attention to everything he says politically, he kind of veers into conspiracy theorist land, right? Like he mentions, I guess he believes in the NWO. And I don't mean NWO, started in WCW back in the 90s by Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash. Not that NWO, not the cool NWO. The imaginary one that Alex Jones talks about. Crazy Joe believes in that stuff. So you would think he would be an anti-vaxxer, but he's not. So there you go. Something positive about Crazy Joe. But everything else about him is horrible. We have a call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hi, Matt. It's Ron. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Ron. Good. How are you?
I'm doing good, but I got to say something. And I don't know how you'll feel about it or other people feel about it, but I don't think Crazy Joe is worth the airtime anymore. His name's been put out there. You've talked about him and everything about him. I mean, I just don't see where his name is worthy of airtime.
Well, Ron, and I understand. I mean, it's a very divisive topic. I've heard from listeners who agree with you, frankly, but I've also heard from listeners who say they can't get enough of the Crazy Joe stuff, and I've heard from a couple people who are kind of in between. And actually, I had no intention of saying anything more about Crazy Joe now that he's been suspended from Facebook yet again. But I had to mention the TikTok thing. I just think it's hilarious that he actually thinks he got suspended from Facebook because he called me a loser. And it's like, and he's completely oblivious to what the real reason is. But fear not, my friend. I do believe, and I know I've said this many times before, but I do believe we are nearing the end of the Crazy Joe saga permanently once and for all, because he's going to keep burning these bridges. He can't stream on Facebook. He's going to get ticked off of TikTok because they also have standards and community guidelines, and you can't say the stuff he says on TikTok on there. So he'll get kicked off of that. I think he's already been kicked off of YouTube because I asked him once, why don't you just stream on YouTube? And I think he's already been banned from there. So
does he have a radio station like yourself?
He's got a website, thecrazyjoeshow.com. He's got a website. There's no actual content on it.
Okay, so he doesn't need sponsors and there's no overhead. It's just pay for the website.
Yeah. How's that guy ever going to get sponsors? Who's going to sponsor him?
No, I didn't know if he had a show like you guys have.
Well, no, he tried. He gave it a try, but didn't get anywhere with it.
All righty, that's all I had to ask and say.
Ron, I do appreciate the feedback, my friend. I genuinely do. Okay. Thanks.
And Matt, yes. Before you hang up, I'm sure you can hear me, or I'm hoping you can.
Yes.
A lot of the conversation I had with you when you were speaking with me, you were fading in and out. So I got the gist of what you needed to say, but you're fading in and out.
Oh, okay. All right, Ron.
All right, pal.
Thank you for the call.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right. Well, that opens up a line for you, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. Let's see. So I think that concludes the, and that may be the end. I mean, for all I know, the next time I go to look for him on TikTok, I'll see that he's been banned from there already. And I don't know. He's running out of bridges to burn. Once he's off of there, what's he going to do? So anyway, so that might be the end of the Crazy Joe saga, but like I said, I didn't plan on talking about him today, but Jenny and I thought that was hilarious when we realized last night, oh my God, he thinks he got banned for calling me a loser. Considering the horrible things you can say about other human beings on Facebook, that's, no. Anyway, all right, let's say hello to everybody in the Facebook live chat. Dirk Don is, I mentioned Dirk from Arrogant Media, of course, first one in. Dirk says, hey, Matt, did you look into how the porn star Brandy Love was kicked out of a Turning Point USA event? So, no, I think I remember you mentioning that before, and then I was going to look into it, and I forgot about it. So I saw your comment, though, while the theme music was playing, so I Googled it. So we will look at that today, Dirk, because I am very, very curious. So I appreciate the reminder. Wayne Noel, who is a top fan all the way from Michigan, joins us and says, good afternoon. Rocky Huber says, happy Tuesday. Jenny is in the chat room and says, shalom, peeps. Dirk says, this is regarding Crazy Joe. LOL, he still says that you're needing me to fight your fights. I'm just a D on the internet who likes to document things. Yes. Eric Street is in the chat room and says, I like the radio station battles and rivalries like in sports. Yeah, I mean, and if done right, they can benefit everybody involved. They generate interest and so on and so forth. But like I said, I know I've said it before, but I do think we are rapidly approaching the end of the Crazy Joe saga. Rocky Huber says, I've heard of the, never mind. I can't read that on the air, but that is funny. Stacy Lawton is in the chat and says, hey, guys, got you on my Google Home display in my kitchen. Wonderful. Miriam Banish is a top fan and says, guess where I am? Where are you, Miriam? Are you with Jenny by any chance? Tom Blanchard joins us in the chat and says, hey. All right. By the way, I did play, and we'll probably circle back to it, as Jen Psaki would say. I did play a little bit of, I played Adam Kinzinger's, never sure how to say it, Kinzinger. I have a little bit of trouble with that. I did play his Congressman Adam Kinzinger, his opening remarks from the hearing today. Today was the opening of the January 6th hearing. And it'll be interesting to see. And I commented about this earlier on the Facebook when I shared it out. I'm sure that tonight Tucker Carlson will be telling his millions of viewers how Adam Kinzinger is a coward and is secretly a Democrat and works for George Soros and is a horrible human being and all that. But but he did get emotional during his comments. And I'm sure Tucker, too, with his smug little face, he'll make fun of Adam Kinzinger getting choked up there. But, Kinzinger, he's a veteran. He fought for this country. He was in the Air Force. And, I mean, I don't know if you saw actual combat. I don't know that much about him. But it was good to see him, his comments at the hearing today. Like I said, today was the first day. So we may, if we have time, come back to that. Let's see. Oh, yep. Miriam says in the chat room, why, yes, I am with Jenny. Very good. Very good. John Hopwood is in the Facebook live chat. John Hopwood, host of Ward 13 on Channel 23. John says, Google Home Display? I wouldn't allow anything of Google near me. Uh-oh. The most SOBing of all the Big Brother social media tyrants collecting data on us. My goodness, John, you sound like a right-wing conspiracy theorist. Charles Richardson joins us. Charles Richardson, of course, host of the Charles Richardson Show, which you can hear every Wednesday and Friday night online from 7 to 9 p.m. on Raw Talk Online, IPM Nation, and, of course, on the Charles Richardson Facebook page. Charles says, hey, everyone, good afternoon, all our peeps who are not banned from Facebook. Yes. John Hopwood says, Air Force are non-combatants unless they are part of an air crew. And by the way, John, who is also a veteran, of course, punctuated both of those comments with an exclamation point because he means business. So there you go. Oh, that's for Matt Connarton Uncut, he says. Oh, well. Oh, referring to the porn star story. I do want to look at that because our friend Dirk Don brought that to my attention, and I am very curious. And there's a new article about this up on Newsweek.com. Brandy Love blasts Candace Owens after Turning Point USA pass revoked. Oh, boy. Let's see. Brandy Love has accused Candace Owens of dividing the MAGA movement after the conservative porn star was ejected from a Turning Point USA event last week. By the way, before we go any further with this story, I just want to say I was not expecting necessarily, I mean, anything can happen, but I was not expecting to be uttering the phrase conservative porn star on the show this afternoon. The adult actress whose given name is Tracy Lynn Livermore labeled the conservative pundit hypocritical for claiming to not support cancel culture, but for supporting her removal from the event. The 48-year-old said in an interview with The Sun, quote, I had just sat through 4 speakers talking about the evils of cancel culture and censorship. and then was canceled, unquote. Oh, she goes on to say, quote, I do believe that as a party, we need to stop allowing them to separate us into groups and then pander to that group. The so-called culture leaders, such as Turning Point founder Charlie Kirk, Dan Bongino, Candace Owens, etc., are doing what the left does, dividing us, unquote. Owens backed the decision to have Love removed from the conference on her podcast called Candace. This is what she had to say about it, quote, this was great. I mean, this is exactly right. This is a conference for minors. I have a bigger question. What was she doing there? Anything that is antithetical to family values is not conservative, unquote. I'm going to take a wild stab and assume that that Miss Love was not filming an actual adult production at the conference. So I'm not sure what the problem is. And as far as the family values thing, I figured out they were all fake and phony about that, several decades ago. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
It's Eazy-G.
Eazy-G, Eric Gagnon. How are you, my friend? I hope you haven't had any more negative experiences on the public bus, but if you have,
no, I stayed home today.
I'm happy to hear
about
them.
Trying to avoid all that horrible smoke out there.
Thank goodness, the horrible smoke. It's like, actually, it's not as bad as yesterday, is it? I mean, it seems like it's better.
Yeah.
But
I got a question about, I
yes.
don't know anything in the...
You don't know anything?
Well, isn't TikTok for like teenagers?
Well, it's for anyone, like any platform. It's for anyone who wants to sign on to it. But I
don't know anything about it. What's it all about?
It's it's not like I've spent a lot of time on it, but you make short videos. I think the limit is 3 minutes. And there's just a lot of most of it isn't of any interest to me. I don't know. Why don't you?
Right. I think it's geared for the younger set, though, isn't it?
I'm sure it is, but I think you should be on TikTok, Eazy-G. I think you should do a 3-minute entertainment report every single day and put it up on TikTok. I think you'd be a hit.
Oh boy.
I actually do think you'd be a hit. I'm not even kidding when I say this. I think I just had a legitimately brilliant idea.
I guess something funny to tell you too. When I first got on Facebook a while back, God, it's been like. It's been I'm trying to think when I joined Facebook. It was that was a while back. Anyways, and I got banned from Facebook because they said I had too many. Hello.
Wait, you got banned from Facebook? You and
this is like probably 8-9 years ago.
Oh, wow!
Well, I got banned for a week. They said I had too many risque Miley Cyrus on my Facebook photos.
Really? You had.
Yep.
This is. We
I had the guy over at Manchester. I was over at the Manchester.
We have a new scandal.
College there on Manchester, the Manchester College there, the one over by the Manchester Community College. And the guy in charge of the library there got me back on because I had to show my license there. But we crossed out. We put a piece of paper on the numbers. And so eventually I was able to get back on, and I've never put her back on Facebook, and I haven't had any issues since.
So why were you, I think we have a new scandal here, Eazy-G. Why were you putting scantily clad, highly inappropriate
I wasn't thinking. I just joined Facebook, and I thought,
Miley Cyrus.
She
was probably underage.
It was a good idea, but come to find out it wasn't.
Yeah, no, not a good idea, Eazy-G.
So I kept her off my Facebook page, and I haven't had any issues since.
Do you put?
Let there be a lesson to people. Don't put a.
Don't put inappropriate
crazy photos. Oh, here we go, Crazy Joe.
Don't.
Be careful what you post on Facebook.
Right.
As Crazy Joe knows.
Right, Crazy Joe. He thinks he got banned from Facebook for calling me a loser, but at least he didn't put.
Yeah, there you go. Now, is there? I know Donald Trump, the greatest president we ever had.
Oh yes.
He's like permanently banned from Facebook, right?
Donald Trump, I can't remember if they decided his ban was permanent or if they're going to revisit it after a certain number of days. I think there's some sort of internal commission within the halls and walls of Facebook.
I think he's suing Facebook.
Yeah, I
Facebook
believe
and
so.
Twitter, because he said they're not allowing me to go back on there, and he's all really mad about it.
He has
He's
made
still mad. He still
well,
says that he lost the election the other day. He was talking to somebody, and he still insists that he lost the election.
Of course.
He was screwed.
I know.
And they got the Governor Sununu involved. He accused New Hampshire of having all kind of bad election, and they screwed him over. And Governor Sununu came out with a statement saying, "We have pretty good, clean elections around here. You know, you're
Isn't it funny?
You're a clown, you know."
Isn't it funny?
He wanted to say that, but he didn't, obviously.
Isn't it funny? We reelected our Republican governor here in New Hampshire, and Republicans did very well in the state legislature here and whatnot. Isn't it funny that the Democrats, according to Trump and others, isn't it funny the Democrats were able to steal the presidential election for Joe Biden here in New Hampshire, but somehow forgot to steal anything else for the Democrats here in New Hampshire? Isn't it interesting?
Yeah, well, I think we'll be able to keep the first in the nation because the guy, that's in charge of the elections here, he's been up in the Concord. I can't think of his name. He's been there for many years.
Oh, the Secretary
of
State.
making sure everything's.
His name escapes me too.
Yeah, everything's all set for the election.
Bill Gardner.
An older gentleman.
Bill Gardner. Yeah, he's been there forever.
As long as he's in charge, we'll keep it. If he was to pass away or have to resign or his job, I think then we'll lose it. But he's able to keep it going because of his status here in New Hampshire.
That's right. First in the nation. That way, once every 4 years, the rest of the country remembers that we're here.
Right, and a lot of people don't. Other states don't like that.
No, they don't. They're jealous.
Jealous. Hey, on a lighter note, can I get a foghorn today? It's Triple H's 52nd birthday.
Triple H, 52.
I figured it's worth a
Why a foghorn?
Yep.
Why a foghorn? Why not the?
Another thing you do with a lot of noise. I can't name it. Yeah, there you go. That's good. Yep.
I got to do that. Hang on. You said 52, right? I just have to do that 50 more times. Hang on.
No.
Oh, you okay?
Oh yeah, one more crazy wrestling stat today. I keep reading online because you can't believe everything you read online, obviously.
No, I believe everything.
Booker T there, you might have remembered him. Don't hate the player, hate the game. He said that, right?
Yes.
He's insisting that the one more time that the Undertaker's coming back, and I say that he's done.
No, I think he'll be back one more time.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I do.
You know how I feel about the old guys coming back.
I know. You get very upset. But he's the Undertaker. I don't know.
I was reading an article today that this guy that writes about wrestling says they don't know what they're doing when it comes to Monday Night Raw. There's too many repetitive matches and clueless.
Oh, I can't watch it. If I watch anything at this point, it's AEW. I can't watch.
They were making fun of Goldberg. Said he was there 1 week, and where is he the second week?
Well, he only he comes and goes.
Right.
He's a karma chameleon. He comes and goes.
But the main issue they had with the Monday Night Raw was the Queen, Charlotte Flair, was wrestling that new champion, that superhero, and she lost. But I'll give you, the Queen says I'll give you she said, even though I lost, I'll give you a rematch for the following week. I mean, they keep doing that stuff. It's like, the following week they have a rematch of the rematch of the rematch, and that's what the critics are saying. That it's ridiculous.
That's stale. WWE is stale.
Oh, definitely. I mean, bringing back all these part-timers now, maybe Taker comes back and Goldberg, and he's way too old.
This is
and then
why...
they bring back Cena, and...
This is
why...
Oh,
yeah, then I'll leave you with this. The head of the table, Roman Reigns, had a kind of a below-the-belt comment, but when the show was over and they were replaying it on Monday Night Raw, that statement was deleted.
Huh?
He said a crazy statement about John Cena, and when they replayed the highlights on Monday Night Raw the other night, they deleted that statement that Roman Reigns made on live SmackDown.
Why? What did he swear?
Oh no, he did. Oh, I'm not going to repeat it, but it was just a sexual comment. With something for the Matt Connarton Unsteep show.
Oh, wow. All right. They were getting a little
It definitely
edgy,
wasn't a PG statement. You know, they say they're wrestling as a WWE, we're all PG, you know.
So what did they just like show his lips moving, and instead you just heard a sound over the words, like a foghorn?
No, he said something a little sexual, and like I said, they deleted it when it came to the show that scene on I saw that what he was saying on Monday Night Raw.
Mm-hmm.
So they censored it, you know.
Yeah. All right. Well,
yeah.
they censored him. They've interfered with his First Amendment rights. He should sue. That could be a new storyline. That'd be a very, very exciting storyline.
But it looks like SummerSlam is going to be the John Cena and Roman Reigns, and it's going to be that the guy on NXT there. Finn Balor.
Yes.
It's going to be a triple threat match.
I hate triple threat matches.
Yeah.
Always have.
Yeah. One last thing, they were making fun of Bobby Lashley because he was beat up two of the guys that used to be in the Hurt Business.
Uh-huh.
And he did like Roman Reigns did. He laid them both on there and he covered both of them.
Yeah.
Where have I seen that before?
I've seen that many times.
Yeah, Roman Reigns did that with Daniel Bryan and the Edge.
Oh, yes. The Edge from U2?
What?
Never mind. All right, Eazy-G. Well, thank you
for
the call.
I'm just rattling on. I'll let you go, and I'm going to enjoy the rest of the show.
All right, Eric. Thank you for the call, my friend. Take care. All right, Eazy-G, our entertainment reporter. He'll be here Thursday with an entertainment report. But that does open up a line for you, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You can text me at 617-917-4476. Tweet me at Matt Connarton or send an email to matt@mattconnerton.com. And, of course, you can interact and opine in the Facebook Live chat. But best thing to do is call us at 603-250-6007. And don't forget, coming up at hour number 2, around 5 p.m., we'll see Mike Sudderth for his weekly Tweakonomics segment. Let's just finish up on this whole Brandy Love, Candace Owens kerfuffle. Following the comments that Candace Owens made regarding Brandy Love and kicking her out, Brandy Love said, I used to believe people like Candace Owens were fabulous. Unfortunately, I was wrong. Yes, you were. There's nothing fabulous about Candace Owens. Nobody there. She also said, not only did she attack me, but Candace said Tommy Loren should have been kicked out too since she endorsed Caitlyn Jenner? Really? Wow. Last week taught me a lot about politics. I'm sorry, about people in politics. The Democrats have their fanatics to deal with, such as Antifa, BLM, and the Squad. The Republicans have theirs to deal with as well, such as this ultra-religious faction and white nationalists. Wow, she really went in. You cannot govern a country as wonderfully diverse as the United States of America from the extremes of either side. It will always lead to the same dark place, authoritarianism, unquote. Hey, you know what? Actually, so here's something we can appreciate about Candace Owens, because it sounds like it took Candace Owens kicking Brandy Love out of the conference for Brandy Love to finally have something of an epiphany. So that's great. I like that. It will always lead to the same dark place, authoritarianism. It says the adult film star also hit out at what she called MAGA conservatism, saying she feels that the MAGA movement is diverse. Well, I don't know how diverse it is. I don't know what your idea of diversity is there, Brandy Love. But there you go. Thank you for bringing that to my attention, Dirk. Yes. Well, Candace Owens, of course, I've discussed my feelings about her in the past, and I know Dirk agrees that, she's essentially a grifter. She found a way to make some money. I mean, I just don't think she's sincere because, and I know I talked about it before, but just quickly to explain once again, I'll give you a Cliff Notes version of my introduction, not in person, I've never met her, but my introduction online to Candace Owens was when I saw her being interviewed by Dave Rubin. This was few years ago now, when she was, I don't think she had started using her real name yet, Candace Owens. I think she was still going by Red Pill Black. And she's being interviewed by Dave Rubin, and she's talking about how she was a liberal and kind of almost a social justice warrior type. But then she had a run-in with other social justice warriors, and they got mad at her for not agreeing with them on something. And all of which was completely believable. But then at a certain point in the interview, they switched to a policy discussion, and all of a sudden this alleged former liberal seemed to believe all these conservative positions and seemed to have done a complete 180. And when I see that, when I see where it seems like somebody just flips a switch and they are now completely the opposite of what they used to be politically, I'm always a little bit suspicious. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Yeah, this is Randy Savage, yeah. And I'm telling you, the WWE will always be, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Randy Savage, Macho Man. Well, you are my favorite wrestler of all time, and I was very sad when he passed away.
Yeah, well, I'm his incarnation, and I'm the one that took down the Ultimate Warrior 2, and I can snap into a Slim Jim at any time, yeah.
Well, I don't think you took down the Ultimate Warrior. I think, if I remember correctly, the Ultimate Warrior took you down.
Yo, we're remembering wrong, boy. You gotta know what's going on behind the scenes, in the scenes, and between the scenes to know what's happening with the world of Randy Savage and the WWE, formerly WWF.
Right. Wow, this is...
I just want to say Eazy-G is full of baloney. That sleazy man, I'll take him in the corner. I'll slam him in the turnbuckle and then suplex that guy the way he needs to be. You understand me?
I do.
Oh, snap into a Slim Jim, Matt, and keep it there in your hat. Yeah.
All right, Randy Savage. Thank you for the call. I have to say, and by the way, I meant what I said. Macho Man Randy Savage is my favorite wrestler of all time. But it sounded to me from that call, obviously he was calling us from the afterlife. It sounded to me like Macho Man has been spending a lot of time with perhaps Dusty Rhodes in the afterlife. He picked up a little bit of that Southern accent there, I think. That was surprising. Let's see. We'll get caught up on these Facebook Live comments, and then I do want to move into something else before we run out of time in the first hour. Our friend Tom Blanchard joins us in the chat room, says the trial started today about January 6th. Charles Richardson says, is Eazy on drugs? He's sounding very confused. No, he always sounds that way, Charles. Dirk says, well, this is what any call with Eazy has been like. It's hard to listen to. Tom Blanchard says, it always comes back to wrestling. I think he thinks it's real. Charles says, Eazy's entertainment report is not entertaining. Oh my goodness. Sorry, Eazy. Well, Charles, you're gonna hurt his feelings. I think that comment deserves an air horn. Or foghorn, rather. Dirk says, nothing against Eazy on my end, but I agree with Charles. Anyway, back to Candace Owens being a grifting snake. How dare they treat my lovely Brandy like this? Mike Palapita joins us in the chat room. Mike is a top fan from Queen City Cabinetry, another one of our wonderful sponsors here at WMNH 95.3 in the historic Sunbeam Mall. Dirk Don says, Candace doesn't actually have standards. It's whatever gets her money. Yes, I agree. John Hopwood says, Brandy Love versus MAGA is just a tempest in a D cup. I see what you did there, John Hopwood. Very good, very good. Well, we have someone joining us live in studio today. We'll see while he gets into place. I'll give him a Give him a little foghorn here. Oh, now it doesn't work. There we go. Well, hello.
Hi.
Who are you today?
It's just me,
Oh,
Pauly
it's
C.
Pauly C from Retro Spectrum Radio with Pauly C. How are you?
I like how you do that, though.
How I do what?
Just in case, the way you introduce me, just in case I might be somebody else.
Right. Well, you are a master impressionist.
I'm the Mel Blanc of our generation.
As you may know, Paul, I myself am not particularly good at impressions, but I have a new thing I'm doing. I do impressions of other people's impressions of people.
Mm-hmm.
For example, and I think I do this pretty well, would you like to see my impression of Gonzo's impression of John Hopwood?
Sure.
Oh, what were you hanging out with Howard Zen? So that's my impression of Gonzo's impression of John Hopwood.
I bet you that'd be great if I knew what Gonzo sounded like when he was doing Hopwood.
He sounds like this. Howard Zen at BU. That's what he sounds like when he does his impression of John Hopwood.
Wow. Hey, did they fix that mic over there?
What do you mean?
Well, no, actually, I can still hear it. It's still a little staticky. Staticky.
Well, it's going to get fixed. It's got to get fixed soon. Peter White's going to be on vacation next week.
Where's he going?
I'm not sure, actually.
Sounds nice.
Sounds very mysterious to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. What's going on with you today, Pauly C?
I wasn't going to come in here, but I was running an errand close by, and I remembered my good friend and co-host. Figured I'd stop by and say hello.
Tom Blanchard says he sounds a little like Gene Simmons of Kiss.
Who?
I don't know. Has anyone ever told you that you sound like Gene Simmons of Kiss?
Never.
No?
I've never been told that, but I'll take that as a compliment.
Right.
I've heard him call in.
Oh, yeah. It's very exciting when he does.
It's amazing that you know him.
It's my favorite band, Mm-hmm. My favorite band.
Well, they are brilliant songwriters.
Yes, absolutely. Did you know, Paul, so there appears to be CDC. I had a story. Wait, where'd it go? Where'd the one here. Yeah, here it is. It's from Reuters. Everybody's reporting on it, but Reuters was the one I wanted. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention is now recommending that Americans wear masks indoors in many cases. It says here, Americans fully vaccinated against COVID-19 should go back to wearing masks indoor public places in regions where the coronavirus and especially the Delta variant are spreading rapidly, U.S. authorities said today. The CDC also recommended all students and teachers at kindergarten through 12th grade schools wear masks regardless of vaccination status. The CDC said children should return to full-time in-person learning in the fall with proper prevention strategies. It goes on from there, but this Delta variant, they're now saying, and it gets into some numbers here in the article, but the Delta variant is so transmissible, they're realizing now that you can be fully vaccinated, and if you're fully vaxxed and you get the Delta variant, you likely won't get sick, or you'll just feel like you have a cold. But they now believe that you can still transmit it. See, with previous iterations of the vaccine, of the virus, rather, shall we say, that were less transmissible, there was some skepticism that if you are asymptomatic or if you're fully vaccinated and therefore asymptomatic, but actually carrying the virus, that you couldn't spread it to others. But they now believe that the Delta variant is so transmissible that you can. So you can be fully vaccinated, get the Delta virus, the Delta variant, and be carrying it around and spreading it to others. But because you're fully vaxxed, you have no idea that it's happening.
Right.
We have a call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Let me tell you something, Matt Connarton. That last impression of Randy Newman was Donald Trump. Do you understand what it's like to be dead?
It's Macho Man Randy
You
Savage.
understand what Pauly C my girl Elizabeth?
So
I knew I recognized that.
What's odd? I mean, obviously he's
Do
dead.
you understand that?
what's interesting to me about this is, so the first time Macho Man called, because obviously he's calling us from the afterlife.
Sure.
He sounded like he'd been spending some time in the South. He sounded unusually Southern, but now he sounds like he's.
Would never go below the Jersey line.
Now he sounds like he's been hanging out with the Undertaker. He's much more gravelly, but also speaking very low, and he's even he's even got Paul Bearer with him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got one.
Wow, this is all what a confusing day.
Is Macho Man still there?
You still there, Macho Man?
He lacks in authenticity. He makes up for in it.
I don't know.
It sounds like Macho Man Randy Savage has a Sprint for a cell phone service.
Maybe, or Cricket Wireless. Maybe he's not in heaven. Maybe he's in hell. Are you in hell, Macho Man? Oh, he hung up.
Oh,
Wow.
I wanted him to say snap into a Slim Jim.
Yeah, he mentioned that the first time when he was, it was, I know what it was. You know how I do impressions of other people doing impressions, like I do the impression of Gonzo doing his impression of John Hopwood.
Right.
I think the first time he called in, it was Macho Man doing an impression of Dusty Rhodes. And this time it was Macho Man doing an impression of The Undertaker, and that's why he had Paul Bearer with him.
I see.
It all makes sense now.
It's all coming together.
Yes, it really is.
I still don't understand the poor cell phone signal, though.
I don't either.
It
Yeah.
probably would have been better if that wasn't happening.
Probably, yeah. Oh, very, it's all so confusing. Right. But, yeah, so we might, they're starting to recommend we might have to start wearing masks again. But
this doesn't surprise me. I mean, we've been acting for the past 6 or so months. We've been acting like it went away and everything's normal again.
Yeah.
And it never went away.
Right.
We got a vaccination and now everybody thinks it's, that's it. We're, let's crowd back into the restaurants and make out with complete strangers. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness. Wow. But it really is. It's a pandemic of the unvaccinated at this point, and it's frustrating because my gut reaction. I mean, there's my gut reaction and there's my informed reaction, and my gut reaction to this is, what the hell? I did my part. You know what I mean?
Right.
I wore a mask. I implored other people to wear masks. I was very consistent about it. I socially distanced, and I got vaccinated.
Right.
I did all the things I'm supposed to do to keep myself safe, but now I got to worry about all these other people who refuse to do any of the things to keep themselves safe.
Oh, that vaccination will kill you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. The long nap you need after it, it's just deadly. You fall dead asleep for like 8 hours or something. It's terrible.
If you took the COVID-19 vaccination, you could be eligible for compensation.
Ooh. I'd like it if somebody paid me for that.
Call the law offices of Tom Sokolov.
It's just frustrating. That's my gut reaction. Now, my informed reaction is, you know what? I'll do whatever the CDC says we got to do to get through this. Because I understand, we do have a problem now of the children who cannot get vaccinated yet, the youngins, the younglings under 12 years old who are not eligible yet, and they're going to be going back to school in the fall, and our schools are going to be petri dishes, but make them mask up while they're at school. But but then I'm back to my gut reaction of, I can't do anything about the unvaccinated people, and it's not my fault that they're not vaccinated, so why does it have to be my problem? And I think I speak for all of us who are vaccinated when I say that. Matt, it's not my problem.
You're into politics, aren't you?
A bit, yes. Yeah, I dabble, yeah.
What's up with Rand Paul? What's in the hair? Is that gel or?
I wonder if it's real. It almost looks like it could be a weave.
Maybe it's Donald Trump in his hair.
He may have some hair product from
some of Trump's product.
Yeah. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Same here.
Yeah. I know, it's something.
And what's up with the Prime Minister of England's hair?
Prime Minister of England, Boris Johnson.
Well, what's up with his hair?
Well,
every time I see him on the news, I get angry.
Well, why do you think he and Trump got along so well? They both have very strange hair.
But this guy, at least Trump looked like he combed it into a disaster. This guy looks like he combs his hair with a brick of firecracker.
That's true. Very different levels of effort applied to the hair. Trump probably spends a good deal of time getting it into. I mean, with Trump, it's not even a comb over. It's like a comb forward and up and around. And then, which he's been very, I mean, I've read interviews where he's talked about that. He's explained his process. He's always been very open about it, and then he has to lacquer it. And apparently he does it all himself. But Boris Johnson, yeah, he's just like, hey, this is me. I'll say this for Boris Johnson, clearly very comfortable in his own skin and his own scalp.
His hair bothers me.
As it should. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
I refuse to say.
Oh. Is this Macho Man Randy Savage doing an impression of John Hopwood?
How come I can't hear you all?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear Paul?
I can hear Paul, that deep, that bass voice.
That bass voice, it cuts through.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Well,
I
good.
got to get a new phone to replace my Apple 6,
Oh, yeah.
I've been orphaned for a while.
Have you checked out the Apple 7?
Oh, geez. I think that's got maybe another year. I'm going to try to go to the 11, but my pocketbook says we should probably go back to the Apple 5.
Carry a pocketbook? I mean, we don't judge.
It's lovely.
I hope it matches.
Well, I'm using archaic language.
You and your archaic language.
I call it a Mach.
Hey, I just wanted to say to Paul.
Yes, sir.
That if your vaccination for COVID turns out to be, some wild ass thing that wipes everybody out, you can't sue.
Oh, wow! He just totally destroyed your bit.
Oh well.
In 1984, the vaccines industry was given. It was immunized against tort lawsuits.
John, when are you and I going to go out and smoke a couple of joints and talk about movies?
Hey, except for the joints, I gave up smoking a long time ago.
John, you know what movie I just recently saw for the first time in my life? Yeah, I want your opinion on it. I saw a Clint Eastwood movie from 1972 called Play Misty for Me. Have you ever seen that?
Of course I have. It's actually from 71, and it was his first movie that he ever directed.
Yes, and who was the young lady in that movie who was stalking him?
What's her name? Jessica Walters?
That's
Is that
right.
Her name?
That was it. Man, I love this guy. John, I love you. If I were single, actually I am. John, what are you doing tonight?
Oh.
I'm actually working on a toilet. Let's not get into that.
Is that a euphemism for something, or what? What do you mean?
I'm actually plumbing.
Oh, that's definitely a euphemism. All right, well, that's fine.
Well, John,
I'm actually fixing a broken toilet.
I want you to come on in sometime in the next month in August to do another fantastic movie episode. All right?
Yeah, we'll do that. But, once again, just go back to the thing. During as AIDS broke out, there were some tort lawyers that were looking into data that suggested a link with a live polio vaccine. And at the time, Congress, being lobbied, gave the vaccines industry, which would soon be called Big Pharma, a blanket immunity. And one of the bases of that was they made so little money on vaccines. Well, you can't say that anymore, but they still have immunity. So I took the Johnson & Johnson, which they say has a better defense against Delta. So to all the rest of you. Bye.
All right. Bye, John.
Bye, John.
I don't think that's accurate. The Johnson & Johnson has a higher efficacy than the others against Delta. That's the opposite of what I had read.
Wouldn't we hear that and read about it if that were indeed the case?
Well, I had read that you're better off with Pfizer or Moderna because they're 2 shots. So they have a higher efficacy overall, including with the Delta. But in a broader sense, though, the good news in all of this is if you are vaccinated, the vaccines do seem to be pretty effective at, even if you come into contact with the Delta variant, even though it's so much more transmissible.
Can I digress just for one moment?
Yes.
We can go right back to this. Do you do it on purpose by putting the microphone directly in front of the camera, no matter where you sit in here?
No, I don't do it on purpose. I just
because you do that now. I'm looking at you on TV right now, and you're hiding behind the mic.
Yeah.
And when you're a co-host and you're sitting here, you do the same thing. You wrap it around on this side.
Yeah. No, it's not anything I do intentionally. Okay. I just don't worry about it much. I mean, it is a radio show.
Well, I just didn't know if it was something like you were like don't like being in front of a camera. Or...
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, I used to do the TV shows upstairs, true. And I was People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive in 2005.
And 2007, right?
Yeah, well, I don't like to brag. Most people we get it once. Except for, I think The Rock might have been twice. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Oh, yeah, I don't appreciate all these imposters thinking they're Randy Savage. They're not.
This is Randy.
This sounds like... This sounds
that
like...
was Gonzo trying to call into John Hopwood before, and I don't appreciate that either. I'll tell you what, guys... I'm up here in heaven with Miss Elizabeth, and you guys keep having these callers, and I'm the real Mandy Savage. Oh, yeah.
Well, now it sounds like Randy Savage doing an impression of the guy from Sling Blade.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the guy from Sling Blade, you think? I don't think that's very funny, Matt Connarton. This is Randy Savage. Oh, yeah, and I don't think all these impressions are very funny. I'll tell you what, that John Hopwood sounds just like Gonzo. Oh, yeah.
Fair enough. Well, you do sound the most like yourself,
that's
Mr.
Right.
Savage, yes.
Oh, thank you. This is the one and only in the flesh. I love the John Hopwood show, except it's not John Hopwood, it's Gonzo. And I love Connarton. Oh, yeah, over and out, baby.
All right, thank you. Wow. Oh, boy, wow. Well, you know what? We do need to get to a break. I think I'm going to play this Macho Man. He did put out a rap album while he was still with us. And there's a song called Be a Man. It's all about Hulk Hogan. I think I should play that for the break.
Oh, yeah.
And so we'll give that a listen. Pauly C is here. We'll also be joined in the second hour by Mike Sudderth for our weekly Tweakonomics segment. Mike should be arriving anytime. You going to stick around, Pauly C?
I am just swinging by to say hello and to give a shameless plug really quick.
Oh, please, yes.
This Friday night, you and me and Dan, we're going to be doing Retro Spectrum Radio at 7:30, and it's going to be the 40th anniversary of MTV on the same night we have our show. So we are going to spend 2.5 hours paying tribute to MTV.
Oh, very good.
Got
very
lots
good.
of fun in store. So if you were a kid in the 80s and 90s, don't miss this.
Well, we look forward to that. Outstanding.
Yes. All right.
All right, Pauly C. Thank you so much for stopping in.
Thank you, Matt.
All right, and we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, Mike Sudderth will be here with us. Don't go away. Plenty more to come. Matt Connarton Unleashed.
Why don't you be a man, Matt?
Welcome back, everybody. We are well into hour number 2, numero dos of Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious downtown Manchester, New Hampshire, where I think it's about to pour. We're also on Comcast 97 in Manchester, streaming at WMNHradio.org, and on the Facebook on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. And of course, you can go to my website, mattconnerton.com, for all of your live streaming options, social media links, contact info, etc., etc. And hello to our friends at Raw Talk Online. Today is Tuesday, July 27, 2021. And Mike Sudderth is here at the news desk. Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Yes.
And it looks like it's about to rain cats and dogs.
Yeah, you told me coming in that there's some sort of weather alert of an apocalyptic nature.
Yes, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse are coming.
Very exciting. Very exciting.
To use some colorful language.
Yes, yes. Let's see. I do want to remind you all that we are proudly sponsored by the Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan at 1000 Elm Street, right across the street. Don't go there today because Monday and Tuesday is their weekend, but they are open Wednesday through Sunday. They have delicious gourmet pretzels. They have craft beer. They have wine. They have live entertainment. On Friday nights, Mike Sudderth here walks into a phone booth and walks out as Grant Lampton.
I put my cape on and show up there on Fridays. Side note, I did see on Facebook that they are closed tomorrow.
Oh.
I don't know if they have a tap line issue or what have you, but
okay.
yeah, they're actually closed. Mr. Kenny did post that they are closed on Wednesday as well, so we will see you Thursday for trivia.
Oh.
Which is a really killer sellout night, from what I understand. And then I will be there as Mr. Grant Lampton on Friday to entertain the ears and the soul. So.
Oh, very good, very good. Yeah, Thursday night's trivia night with the great Bill Cini, who also does trivia Wednesday mornings on the morning show.
He's a trip, man. And his wife, Allie Beaudry, is a real, hero, mentor of mine when I grew up kind of seeing her play as I got my feet underneath me here musically. And it took me a while to figure out that they were even a couple with kiddos running around, pitter-patter of little feet. He's got a heck of a thing going on, and he's just the Hop Knot is not his one-trick pony.
Right, absolutely. We have a call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hi, Matt. This is Brandon from Portland, Maine.
Brandon from Portland, Maine. How are you? I saw your. Is this you? Are you the same Brandon in the chat room who's looking for a Michael Scott 21 topping pretzel?
That's correct.
Yeah, that does sound good. What's on your mind, Brandon?
Well, seeing as you just played the Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage, I was going to talk about some wrestling. Were you guys talking about that prior to commercial?
Well, we got some calls earlier. I don't know if you were listening, but the ghost of Macho Man Randy Savage called us from, I hope he's in heaven, did call us from the afterlife. But it was very, very strange because each time that he called, he sounded a little bit different. First time he called, he kind of sounded like if Macho Man and Dusty Rhodes had a baby. It would be, that individual. And then the second time he called, he sounded like he'd been hanging out with The Undertaker, had kind of more of a low, gravelly voice. And then the third time he called, he sounded a bit more like himself. So it's been very strange. And I don't know if you've ever had calls from the afterlife, but it's a little bit creepy, to be honest with you. But he is my favorite of all time, so I was happy to speak to him.
Were those jovial? Was it a good call, or was he pranking, or what was going on?
I got to be honest with you. I didn't find them particularly jovial because I feel like, well, the first one was sort of jovial, but then I think the second one, he seemed to be a bit threatening. And then, and Paul Bearer was there with him, which creeps me out. And then the third one, yeah, he was a little bit menacing. I did try to remind him that I'm a huge fan, but I wouldn't say he was jovial. Very intense.
Look, I was going to talk about, I found it quite shocking how well the WWE has been doing over the past couple of weeks. Obviously, with the return of John Cena, which I attribute a lot of that to the attention. But I wasn't expecting when they brought back crowds for it to be all the hoopla that people said it was going to be, because of what a lot of people didn't consider is that WWE was making a lot more money by not going and driving and touring and having to pay production people and the technical people and everyone going to every arena every night instead of they just had it in Orlando, and you save, that's like 50% of the cost. So that's why everyone was shocked when in the recent quarter, WWE made a lot of money. And so they were doing just fine without fans.
Pretty tickling economic perspective, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
That some folks do better when things are shut down, as the WWE has. And it creates attention, correct? Hello?
That's right. A lot of people talked about how the quality of the product declined because of the lack of fans, because wrestling, obviously, having fans there is very integral to the wrestlers and how they perceive themselves, and it's very important. But I would say, just watching SummerSlam and these full crowds, it's shocking how well it's worked out so far.
Yeah, it's almost surreal to see full crowds, but they are an incredibly lucky company because WWE, they had they got those two enormous TV deals with Fox and with NBC Universal right before all of this happened, right before the pandemic, and I wonder what kind of condition they would have been in if they didn't have all that money. I mean, they're swimming in cash. And I wonder what kind of position they would have been in post-pandemic if they hadn't had all that money coming in, all that guaranteed money to carry them through. They're very lucky, very fortunate company.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Now, we can't say that you say the fellow who called in from the afterlife was not jovial. There aren't too many jovial folks in wrestling, are there?
Well,
I mean, is that not their shtick? I mean, there is, Mr. Fabulous and Gorgeous George and all that who kind of took a different angle, but most of it is aggression and feeds off of bad boy type of stuff.
Well, that's true. And, Macho Man Randy Savage, very, very intense.
Yes, yeah.
Very intense individual, yeah.
Now, was he the guy who sold Slim Jims?
Yes, that was him.
Oh, okay.
Snap into a Slim Jim.
Snap into a Slim Jim.
I do a terrible impression of him. Yeah.
You're welcome to call in with your Macho Man impressions.
Yeah, do you do an impression, Brandon, from Portland?
This is former President Barack Obama.
That's not
like
bad.
it.
That's not bad. But can you do Barack Obama as Macho Man Randy Savage?
No, definitely not.
All right.
That's a tough hybrid, brother.
I threw you a curve there. Sorry about that. All right. Well, anything else on your mind, Brandon?
Well, this is former President calling from the grave, Ronald Reagan, and I just wanted to thank you for taking my call, and I'm going to tear down this phone call right now.
Wow.
Mr. Paul, tear down this phone call.
Yes, former President Ronald Reagan calling from the great beyond there at the end. Wow, that was amazing. That was a hot tag to Ronald Reagan, as they say in the wrestling business. Well, we'll take a moment. I just want to catch up with these Facebook Live comments, and then we'll get to Mike's Tweakonomics segment. Very interested to hear what you've got this week, Mike. I did see a couple. Like I said, Brandon is in the chat room, also lamenting John Hopwood not being with us today. Scott Robinson made a comment, though, that I wanted to address. Scott said, I'm watching the show on Comcast 97 here in Manchester. Always thought that Matt went out for a smoke break. Guess I was wrong. Because if you're watching on Facebook or on Comcast 97, you'll often see me get up to leave the room during the break. But no, that is to either or both use the restroom and to refill my water. I am a non-smoker. I actually help people to quit smoking. I'm a certified hypnotherapist, and smoking cessation is the number one thing that clients see me for. But I myself have never been a smoker. There are other individuals here at WMNH who are smokers and who will go out for a smoke break. But
we see them in front of margaritas.
That's right. That's right. But no, I myself, I tried a cigarette once in high school, and I was mortified by the taste of it. It just tasted so horrible. I felt as though I just put a spoonful of dirt in my mouth, and I never took it up as a habit. But let me just give the numbers one more time, and then we'll get to Mike's segment. 603 250-6007. If you'd like to call in, 603-250-6007. You might have a question or a comment or anything at all for what we're discussing with Mike. But, of course, we do have this wonderful, and by the way, I did ask Eazy-G if he minds that we, sharing this music, because you and he both share the same music here with the, the breaking news music. But
I didn't know that. Eazy-G is a wing guy?
He no, I was talking about the breaking news sound effect that you like
forgive
so
me.
much.
Okay,
yes,
yeah.
Yes.
Got it.
He uses it for breaking news. You use it for your intro, but he's okay with sharing it. He's quite benevolent.
I appreciate it as long as it's above board and there's no royalty trouble.
Oh boy, I sure hope not. What a nightmare. Oh, all right.
Talum. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mike Sudderth, and this is Tweakonomics. Yum. Shameless ripoff from Red Robin. Yes. This afternoon, I'd like to talk to you about some things regarding economics that the pandemic has changed. I listened to some information online from the Brookings Institution during the week, and some other projects that I will not mention because they may not lean towards the way you think or the way I think. But anyway, it's good information anyway. I'd like to introduce a new little plug here as I start my segment called SMP, which translates to Shameless Marketing Plugs. And it would be unfair of me not to mention our wonderful sponsors here before I delve into this. CGI Business Solutions, Queen City Cabinetry, and Mike and the crew over there. And, of course, the great Hopknot and Kenny and his family over here across the street at 1000 Elm Street, who are sponsors of WMNH 95.3. I had to look at the sign here. But I thought it might be in an economic way. My undergrad's in marketing, and it's, I'm sitting here talking about marketing and trying to jazz people about the emotional side of marketing. Hey, why not put a 2-second thrill into somebody who may not be a sponsor? But hey, if you guys know some of these people that I'm going to slide a name here and there, if you have seen them, if you do go become a custom of theirs, please mention 95.3 FM here in Manchester. And the first one I'm going to mention is called Breeze Tees, and a fella named Anthony, who actually makes the T-shirts for Hopknot. They're located over here on Hanover Street, and the fellow's name is Anthony that I met. And they do T-shirts, stickers, cups, mugs, hats, what have you. But they're a local company here in Manchester, and I'm diving in to get some stuff done for my Grant Lampton music business and explore that. But I thought once a week I'd mention a local business.
Yeah.
And, if good comes in it from the audience that you go and see them, that's great. But maybe if we got a little traction, whoever goes out and knocks on doors and tries to get new sponsors, that might be a side effect of that. So,
absolutely.
God bless you, Breeze Tees, down there on Hanover Street in Manchester, New Hampshire.
And then, by the way, anyone listening interested in sponsorship, shoot me an email, matt@mattconnerton.com. I would love to talk to you.
Dynamite.
We have plenty of room.
So let's get into topic number one. I guess we've already gone through the bumper music.
Yes.
Well,
unless I can play it again.
Well, no. Sometimes I expect the Newsflash! Newsflash! It's going to rain this afternoon. This is not the weather report. So what I started to talk about before I distracted myself with the SMP was, what's happened here in the pandemic with businesses gaining traction in one direction and businesses losing traction because of the pandemic. And really, what attracted me to it as a former HR guy was how it's affected the labor force. But think of the brick and mortar jobs that have changed and the businesses that have changed, and how that affects employment. And one of the things that really struck me is, places like Amazon that have really gained from this, and the mom and pops that have somewhat suffered from this. But we've all kind of adjusted our, curbside pickup and things like this, and that's affected a lot of jobs. It's interesting in this climate that when folks are talking about, well, the unemployment rate is really high and it's hard to find people and this and that. Well, some of that effect is directly due to the pandemic here, and things have shifted. I don't go to Marshall's anymore. Mm-hmm. My gig used to be I'd go to Marshall's and find really expensive stuff for what I thought was a bargain, and that kind of disappeared over the pandemic here. either by personal choice or because I had to wear a hazmat suit to go in there to shop for my shirts. But let's say the entry level workforce or even the management workforce that worked there really had to pare down over this. And and some folks are in the situation that they had to make a decision to switch industries. And that's going to be a long-term thing. If you're a mid-level, midlife or mid-level type employee, the new job training or switching careers is not okay, I'll just, I'm working at McDonald's, I'll go to work for Wendy's. That's, kind of a quick fix. But for the folks who have worked, say, at Marshall's for 15 years and they've gotten up into a shift manager or maybe purchasing or something like that, those type of recoveries are going to take a long time. And it led me down the path of, I would think we'd have a pretty swift recovery here in the market. And I don't want to say I'm getting pessimistic, but I'm starting to get realistic that inflation aside, that we're really looking at it's going to be a slow recovery here. And again,
you mean in terms of jobs getting filled?
Labor market, yeah. And I was reading up on the Dutch firm Randstad, or Randstad as they call it in Holland, who do operate here in the U.S. I read up on some stuff that they had put out that, of course, they are very thirsty for the labor market to heat back up because they take the cut in the margin of folks who work for them, who go to work for other companies. But it made sense to me that it's going to take a stretch of time here before things really get back to normal, because a lot of folks who are, it's all your age and your perspective that, if you're 21 years of age, like, hey, I used to, I worked at a T-shirt manufacturer, let's say Breeze Tees printing T-shirts. Let's say that they weren't doing well. You've got to make a mental shift of what you're going to do for work. Most of us, and how I grew up is, okay, I'm going to be an accountant. I went to school for this, and this is how I'm going to ride out the rest of my years. There's an awful lot of folks that have to make a decision that because of the pandemic here, that, the industry I was in has collapsed. And, do I now become a plumber? Do I go be an electrician? And that's life-changing stuff that doesn't happen overnight, to restart your career or to restart your income stream. It's really what it comes down to, right? How do I pay my bills? And to start all over again when you are, let's say, 30 plus and going into middle age, I guess I could call myself, that takes a very long time to start paying back in to the system, which is, economically is what it's all about. The government wants you to make $100,000 a year. They do.
Right.
America wants you to make $100,000 a year, or at least 60, or whatever tag you want to put on it.
Can't collect taxes on nothing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Money in, money out. But that takes a long time. And I started to get, I hate to use the word pessimistic, but to get realistic that this recovery, economic recovery, is going to take a long time. And the best thing we can do is, as an adult, I have to look at it as like, all right, I got to brace myself here that this isn't going to bounce back. We are not boing, 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 follow the bouncing ball as we go along here. As you look at charts and whatnot, we're really going to have a slow recovery here. And that's okay. If somebody found a career that they love as a switch from something, but, if you train to be a cook or what have you, throwing a bicycle mechanic, and now that's disappeared, it's going to take some time for you. Okay, I had a stable income. When you start a new career, it's very often not that I'm switching careers to go make a boatload more money. You know what I mean?
Right. Is some of this, was some of this inevitable? Sometimes I look at this and the changes in the economy and the changes in the job market, and I just wonder, was some of this going to happen anyway? And, this displacement and people having to be retrained in new careers and whatnot. And then the pandemic kind of came along and just wildly accelerated all of it, all of this change that was inevitable.
Well, regarding technology, absolutely. I think we all smelled this. I did working for a technology company, a software company back in 2000. I could smell it that, hey, me as a pencil and paper ledger staff accountant, I see it coming that, I've got to be a lot more technically savvy. And then it opened up that, hey, you can be a computer programmer in 10 months. That opened up. But yeah, I think it's accelerated that, and that a lot of fields and, anything comes to mind. And if anybody's listening, probably has a lot more to comment on than I have in my brain right now. But it's definitely accelerated that, some things stop, and particularly the brick and mortar stuff has stopped, and, you have to switch. And I feel that people are very, very lucky to have ridden this out and kept their same occupation,
Yeah.
Folks in essential, medical type of stuff, pretty smooth going through this whole mess.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But again, if you're the cobbler downstairs here, this guy, and people aren't out bringing their shoes in, or if you're a small clothing retailer and that collapsed because people are buying clothes on Amazon or through Wish or Poshmark or what have you, that if that stuff stops and or has taken a dive to a point that you can't make a living anymore, like, what do? You have to have a sit down with yourself or your spouse or your partner and say, well, what's next? And as you get older, that's a tough decision to make. You still have bills to pay. There's a cell phone bill, there's a rent bill or a mortgage or whatnot.
But a lot of this has been going on for decades anyway, right? Because even, you can even take the internet out of the equation and look at automation. I remember being a kid in the 80s and reading and seeing these news stories about people in auto factories being laid off because, they found more efficient ways to build these cars with automation. And so, these jobs are getting pared down. And then, you have these people who this is all they've done all their adult lives. And now they're in a situation where they've been displaced and they're trying to figure out, do they go back to school? Is there, some people advocate for government programs for retraining people for displaced workers and that's real stuff. One of the things I was listening to from it was a podcast from the Brookings Institution, which, if you follow economics, and it's not the most exciting stuff in the world, but I happen to pay attention to it. They're talking about stimulus money that is granted, and we can get into what's been granted here to Manchester. There's a whole dog and cat fight over that. But retraining people, and that's painful stuff when you're like our age, right? I went to school, I was good at math, or I was bad at math, and you start making decisions on where the direction of my life is going. It's darn hard to, okay, well, my business has collapsed or my industry has collapsed. What do I do now? Because normally at my young age of 29, yes, I'm fibbing. It's a hard thing to say, okay, I want to go be a hot dog salesman or a musician in my case. And, that's real world stuff. And the alternative is like, gosh, I've got to go make sandwiches or pizzas just to pay the bills. And that's a scary proposition when you followed a path from the age of, say, 18 to 21 forward. That has happened. It's interesting you mentioned automation is one of the notes I had made to talk about today. I was watching a show on Bloomberg about robotics and things like that. And, if you and I were having this conversation at a radio station in Detroit, I think the phone would be ringing off the hook because there are folks who planned, my dad worked for Ford, his dad worked for Ford, I'm going to work for Ford, and this is how we're going to ride this out. Right.
And then all of a sudden, I used to spot weld fenders in the new Ford Taurus. Well, now that's been replaced by something that looks like one of these guys,
Right, yeah.
That pops right along. And, capitalism-wise and economic-wise, if you were on the board of Ford, like, hey, it's cheaper to do it this way, it's more efficient this way, we churn out more numbers this way. But the human component is real that, Don or Becky, who worked for us for 15 years, we kind of don't need you anymore because we can turn out twice as much with what do they call it? Number 1, 2, 3, 6 or something can go bang, 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 bang. And he doesn't need insurance. He doesn't need a 401k.
Right.
And that's a real tough intellectual and emotional thing for me when I think about, you can have your emotions one way or the other, but when you're thinking about a person who, hey, I've got 2 kids and, one of them wants to go to college, one wants to be a plumber or whatever. I still have to provide to the age of 18 or 21, and you've ripped the rug out from under me, all for the better of Ford or GM or what have you. But it's real that people suffer for that. So anyway, to get back to this Brookings Institution conversation that I was listening to, the stimulus money that went in, a lot of it, they were advocating, and this is on a national level, not a local level, advocating for job retraining. But again, that's very weird. If somebody came to me and I was a car, guy who worked in a car factory my whole life, at 55, and now I'm telling the truth, I'm 55. Well, Mike, you've got to come up with a new career. So what do I do? So I'd love to come sit on the radio. Can you guys pay me $60,000 a year to do this spot? I'm asking the question.
Oh, you're asking the wrong guy.
Okay. But do you know what I mean? Like, that's life-changing stuff. Like, so do I go work at Valvoline and, but that's not at the income level I was used to. It's a hell of a shift,
It's one of the reasons I never wanted children. And for real, like it sounds funny when I say it, there's actually a whole bunch of reasons, but that legitimately is one of the reasons. I never wanted the financial pressure of, finding myself in that situation, because I'm an entrepreneur and I've taken a lot of risks, and by taking a lot of risks is kind of a euphemistic way of saying I've lost a lot of money, and I've made some money too. And,
but hey, you tried, as Jack Nicholson said when we flew over the cuckoo's nest, I tried, damn it. I tried.
Well, yeah. And I don't want to put it that way. Like I tried, cause that makes it sound like I failed.
Oh no, forgive me.
Which I haven't, but I've lost a lot of money along the way, But yeah, I just it seems like one of the things, if I had a family to support, one of the things that would really stress me out is, well, what if one day my job goes away? What if one day my entire career goes away and I have to learn something new? And what if that new thing I have to learn pays half as much? And now
which
what?
In the beginning, you almost have to guarantee that's the case, correct? I mean, that's my assumption. If I were to say, I really want to be a pizza maker, after being an HR guy and a financial guy for the better part of my life, which did provide, I didn't adore it, but it provided a good living, and I was able to skip along here and there. But that's real pain, and God bless you for being responsible to yourself, number one, and not have it be an afterthought that like, well, now I've got a child, and it's up to me to do whatever. If I have to go turn a wrench or whatever, it's responsible. And for the folks that did have children, either by choice or by accident, and I hate to say the word accident because plenty of people have. No, I'm serious. A lot of people have children that I love the person I was with, and there was a child as a result of it.
Yeah.
The bottom line is that I've got to have an income stream here to keep me at a certain level that I want to be out of poverty.
Right.
And that's a real thing, and a lot of it comes down to luck, and that luck is no way to go through life. It's lovely to have it.
Yeah.
But that's not. They don't teach you in high school, like, and a third of the pie, ladies and gentlemen, is luck. You may be smart, you may be skilled at this, but the other third of the pie here is plain old luck, and they don't tell you that. But is that not the darn reality?
Oh, I wouldn't characterize it quite that way. There's an old saying: the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Thomas Jefferson, I like that.
Oh, is that who said it?
I believe so. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I kind of think, I don't know. I'm very much. I know it sounds corny to people, but I still believe that in America you can you can make your own luck. Look, I mean, obviously luck plays a role in all of our lives, and so much I think of being successful is if you find yourself in a lucky position. Maybe you find yourself in a circumstance where you met someone who can really help you. Perhaps you meet a potential business partner or something, just to give an example. I think and much of being successful in life is when you are lucky, knowing how to recognize that and take advantage of the situation. But I prefer, like, I don't really use the word luck much. I like to use words like fortunate, if you're fortunate enough
Agreed.
to find yourself. And of course, some people are born, if you're born rich, what do they call that? Being born on third base, that's very lucky. you know, because then, you know, if you're born into a wealthy family, you know, you're probably never going to struggle. So I think luck plays a role, but I'm too much of an optimist to say, well, a third of it is luck. I don't know.
I'll agree with that argument for sure. And, you know, I have a taste of that. I was born into a very fortunate family. As the B-52s say, trust fund baby.
Oh.
But, you know, that only carries you so far. That doesn't carry you into how to handle the world and how to further yourself.
Right.
How to recognize other opportunities.
If anything, it might insulate you from that.
I agree 1,000%, at least in my case, where I grew up with expectations of things I hadn't even seen yet. You know, there were expectations that, and I won't even say that I was told by mom and dad, you know, this is what we expect. I was expected to go to college and go on and, you know, make my own way. But emotionally and kind of in the back of my mind, I had, well, I need to get to the point that I saw my parents get to. But, you know, there's circumstances, like, you know, I was a kid. I didn't understand their circumstances. And it's been a real education for me I think what happens is you end up growing up later, you know. The friends who I know who, you know, who came from a very more modest background than mine, I believe had a better education earlier on than my formal boarding school and military school and, you know, private college education. I was kind of walked along with not a lot of pain. And
right.
And, you know, the street smarts and the school of hard knocks, there's a heck of a lot to be learned about that.
Yes.
All people go through. And as I've matured, you know, here at my ripe age of 29 again, it's interesting to see how, you know, folks I'm learning stuff now that a lot of my friends who were less fortunate learned a long time ago.
Sure.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool from a perspective that how I look at other individuals now at this age. You know, when I was a kid, I was like, hey, you know, my folks have a bunch of money. I don't have to worry about the stuff that you worry about.
Yeah.
Well, you know, they're dead and gone, and, you know, things have changed and times have evolved that, you know, I'm starting to have to worry about this. You know, how do I deal with my retirement? How do I deal with once I stop working? Or, you know, as you know, I kind of stopped doing what I did full time for a very long time. And now I'm giving a go at this musician thing, which is no way to make a living. No bloody way to make I mean, it's no way to pay a mortgage or, you know, and throw sock money away to, you know, go to Tahiti once a year or something like that. It's no way to do that.
Yeah.
It's more about the emotional satisfaction. I've been very lucky to be able to do any of that.
Yeah.
But I'm learning these lessons now at middle age. So the silver spoon thing is, you know, it's a double-edged sword. Unless the resources are such that you can live out your life that you don't have to worry about it. But, you know, there are 1,000 scenarios of very famous people who made a bunch of money and their kids, you know, they were like, well, I didn't have to worry about this stuff till I was 45 years old. Like, like, what do I do now? Well, you have to write the check and send it to the credit card company or send it to Wells Fargo so they don't, oh, well, okay, well, I have to write a check? Yes, and it's a reverse thing, as you had mentioned, that, you know, the folks who, you know, hey, mom and dad came from modest means, you know, dad was worked at Jack Pack and mom was a librarian or whatever at the local library. And once I got out of high school, I had to go, you know, make my own way. Those type of folks learn stuff at an earlier age than some of us who have had a comfortable upbringing and thought like, well, this ride's going to last forever.
Right.
Once it's on your shoulders, and as we mentioned, a couple of kids, which I had, you know, it's a different set of responsibilities, man. Like, you know, we're not dealing with, oh, okay, I'll go make my $600 a week or $1,200 a week. You've got another little body here who's going to outlive you, and in all cases, luckily. That's a very, very, very weird thing. So don't, you know, either side, you know, if you grew up without money or with money, don't envy the other side, because it all kind of has this karma of you make what it comes down to you, you know, and your personal responsibility stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the other thing I wanted to ask about, you were talking earlier about, or we were talking about automation, is I think I've mentioned this to you on the show before. We've had a guest on, Mark Smith, who is the host of the Abstract Transmissions podcast, and he talks a lot about automation and what he calls the jobs apocalypse. He says that there's going to be, and he's a big fan of Andrew Yang. So he, because Andrew Yang talks a lot about this stuff. But Mark says there's going to be this, just this collapse of jobs that just aren't going to be here anymore. And according to him, he calls it the jobs apocalypse because he says it's going to be much sooner than people realize or are prepared for. And that we as a country, unlike, say, China, for example, we as a country have not prepared for that. That's one of the reasons, because Andrew Yang, part of his platform when he was running for president was universal basic income, and Mark also supports that. And that's a big part of his argument for it is there's going to come a point where there just isn't going to be enough work to do. And I wonder, with what we're seeing, because we have a lot of these, a lot of businesses right now that can't find enough help. Are we seeing the beginnings of that?
I think absolutely. And I was watching something on Channel 2 or PBS the other night. It's enough skilled help, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the bodies are out there, but it's enough skilled help. If you need a computer programmer, it's hard to find them. Let's use that one thing as an example. And if you do find them, it's an employees market.
Yeah.
And they say, well, I'd rather work from home and, I'm going to need $120,000 a year. 100,000 sounds attractive, but, in a heartbeat or those type of folks normally work on an hourly or contract basis,
Yeah.
I love the $35 an hour, but I really can get 40 and, I don't want to take calls at night. And that really changes the dynamic. So I was skeptical of a lot of Andrew Yang's policies that he put forth. The universal, basic income was one of them. But, I'm learning through this process too. Is that what's going to cushion this job apocalypse, which I believe is coming and is accelerated by COVID that you had mentioned? And maybe that's a good thing that, let's rip the Band-Aid off now rather than slobber through this, because it is real. And we can't, we're always going to need retail workers, entry-level workers. We're always going to need things like this. But as the economy evolves and, the whole infrastructure here evolves, and that's why I was really intrigued by this Brookings Institution thing. I never really believed in stimulus to local municipalities and federal, state and local type of stuff. Just always seemed like, well, shouldn't you give somebody a check? And as Ronald Reagan, who called in earlier, said, trickle-down economics made a lot of sense to me that, if you give me $2,000, I'm going to go out and spend it. I'm not going to sock it away and the wife and I go up to Tahiti. I'm going to go lease a new car and, the auto place that I buy the car from gets the money and their workers get the money. And that made economic sense to me. But I'm starting, maybe in this environment that job training and things like this that used to be, and I'm going to touch on politics here, folks, don't freak out, that the left had kind of really advocated for, job training programs and things like this. I think maybe now in this environment, this might be the time that they can capitalize, if I can use that term, because there is going to be a person who's 35 or 45 years old, like, I just lost my job to a robot, or I've lost my job to the brick and mortar store is not there anymore.
Yeah.
I can't manage my Gap store or my PacSun store anymore because everybody orders it online. So I want to be retrained, and I don't have the money to go back to school. So am I left in the lurch? And that's a real thing now that, 5-10 years ago, I was the capitalist guy on the right side of things, not meaning in right is wrong, but on the right side of the aisle that, hey, look, personal responsibility, and you go out and you make what you create for yourself belongs to you and all this. But if you have the rug ripped out from under you, which I think the pandemic has happened and the technological advances have really, put this into place, I wouldn't want to be that guy.
Right.
Like, I used to make, let's put any number on it. I used to make $50,000 a year. Now that job is gone. Now I can go to work for Domino's or I can drive Uber, but that's not provided the income that used to be there. I'd love for somebody else to be thinking in these think tanks like the Brookings Institution, that the Hamilton Project was the folks that I listened to who were on this show.
Yeah.
We really have to impact the local economies with the stimulus money to take a hold of these folks and say, hey, look, this is the safety net. It's not a $2,000 check. It's the folks or the man or woman who said, hey, look, I was at this level. The economy has changed. Technology has changed. I still have 2 kids and a husband,
right,
or 2 kids and a wife and 2 cars, and I'm not even thinking about retirement. I can't afford retirement. That whole dynamic has changed too.
Right.
I need to pay my bills, and if the stimulus money is going to say, okay, Sally Smith, we're going to put you in a program. We're going to make you a computer programmer now, or we're going to make you an automation expert or a robotic repair person. That's life-saving stuff. Don't give me $2,000. Give me an education on how I can go out and make $2,000 every 2 weeks.
Right.
On my own. But it's terrifying stuff, man.
Oh, yeah.
If it's already in place, you said you made the decision not to have kids. Like, I have kids. If I have that on my shoulders, well, they're not kids. They're grown and gone now. But
yeah,
when they were in their teens and a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old. That's a heck of a lot different scenario.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
It's scary stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad I never found myself in that situation.
It's what happens when you kiss girls sometimes. So.
Well,
in my case, anyway.
Yeah. Anything? We're already. It goes so quick. We're already almost out of time. Before we have to wrap up, and we do run out of time, is there anything you wanted to touch on this that we didn't get to? I mean, there's always next week, but is there anything else you wanted to make sure you mentioned?
No, it was cool by just association here. I got to talk about a couple of things that I'd written down, the robotics thing. There was one neat thing that I did jot down here, and I don't know if we talked about it before, I couldn't remember. The 24/7 vet hospitals have now gone to, like, we can't do it anymore. So if Fluffy breaks her leg, you shut the screen door on Fluffy and you break her leg. This was a place in Hooksett that used to be 24/7.
I didn't realize that there was a place
Fido
around
or
here.
Fluffy, has a problem at 1 a.m, and that's as real as you and I, right? Like, you and I have a problem. My wife can't breathe at 1 a.m, and I'm like, I'm taking you to the Elliott,
right,
or I'm going to take you to Dartmouth Hitchcock. And I heard a woman on the radio saying, hey, there's nothing we would rather do than take care of your pets that you adore like children.
Of course.
We don't have the staff and we don't have the capacity anymore. And we regret to tell you, and that was really, this is a new shift in the economy that we'd love to do it. We can't find vet techs. We can't find them in. And we'd pay them more, but within reason. But we can't offer a $5,000 signing bonus,
right,
to one person and then do it for 3 others because they need 5 or 6 people there,
right,
at these big animal hospitals. And as a former pet owner, my dear Annie is up with Ronald Reagan and Macho Man Randy Savage. Maybe my dog Annie will call in one of these days.
Yeah.
But that's like real hardcore stuff, the folks who do have, if you have a dog or a cat, or anybody listening has a dog or a cat, it's a bummer to think that, my dog's coughing and won't stop. I'll just bring it to the 24-hour animal hospital.
Right.
This one in particular, which is over on Brown Avenue, they're like, we just can't do it anymore, man. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, it's a bummer. So I'm sorry to end on such a negative note, but
maybe Macho Man will call in as your dog Annie.
Yeah. Love you, babe. I still have a Milk-Bone dog biscuit on your little box.
Oh, well. All right. Well, very good. Well, Mike, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Another great segment. Mike Sudderth with Tweakonomics. And don't forget, Friday night, he'll be at the Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan right across the street as Grant Lampton from 7 to 9 p.m.
I have a new song that I've learned, and I'm sending it out to all the folks who got double vaccinated. So if you come and see me, I will be singing a song by the Swinging Medallions called "Double Shot of My Baby's Love."
Oh, very good. Very good. All right.
Tickle
cool.
Me Pink, man.
Cool. There you go. All right. So, yes, Grant Lampton at the Hop Knot Friday night, our wonderful sponsor. Thank you, Mike. And if you missed any part of today's show, it'll be up in just a little bit at WMNHradio.org. And thank you to Pauly C. for stopping in earlier. That was cool, too. And that's going to do it for us for now. We'll talk at y'all a little bit.